Alright everyone, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back once again. We are bringing you the Demacia Cup coverage in English, brought to you by Gosu Gamers and Games in Asia. I am Pirate Technics, joined on this broadcast by the awesome and talented Froskarin. Froska, you ready to rock this cast?
I'm always excited for the Demacia Cup. For those of you who aren't familiar with this tournament, it is a 28-team tournament covering LSPL, LPL, and TGA Grand Prix teams. There's no qualification, no circuit points here, so whoever wins this tournament doesn't get like a free pass into Worlds or anything like that. But it is important because it's kind of one of the only tournaments where all 28 teams across every single region and team structure get to kind of face off against each other, so that's pretty cool. But we're already in picks and bans phase, actually.
We are already in picks and bans. They really don't waste any time getting here, but to add a little background, right, you are completely about the format of the tournament, mixing LSPL and LPL teams, but today, only LSPL teams are actually going to be taking each other on. It is going to be on the blue side, King, and they are actually first place in the LSPL right now. Bit of stumbling blocks despite that, and their opponents on the red side going to beat Dreamcatcher, aka DC. Bands coming out quick, already seeing LeBlanc Cassidy taken away.
Not surprising to see those bans, Jax as well. Kale, huge popularity. I feel like it's either banned or it's picked and played every single time. Again, these teams are going to be King on your blue side, and Dreamcatcher's DC is going to be on your red side. As far as a little bit of background behind these teams, King is currently placed first in LSPL, although I don't know how much that really counts for anything because they haven't faced any quote-unquote, like, formidable teams. I think they split with Energy Pacemaker, which I believe is kind of the best team that they've faced so far, so still have quite a bit to prove for themselves, but the standings do show that they are currently ranked first. And
of course, Dreamcatcher going to be wanting to take this best of three and put themselves over the edge on this one. They're going to target out that cast-in on the second pickup. Lulu was removed on the side of King. Two also pretty popular picks, one region-specific, maybe not so much the other. Yasuo going to be the last ban, though, and look at that, an instant Braum hover, instant locking from King. They really want that pickup.
I suspect it's going to be Braum support. However, we did see Alan play Braum jungle
we did.
last week, so I'm not
I
even
somehow
sure
think it's not quite going to be that, and they are going to lock in likely Twitch as well. Remember, this is still the 4.9 patch. Twitch has not been completely nerfed into the ground just yet. And DC on the other side is already decided on their top laner in the jungle. Lee Sin, always a hotly contested ticket in China.
I'm actually really curious if they're going to go through with this Elise into the Lee Sin counter. I feel like we've been seeing a lot of Kha'Zix, despite what you said. It is 4.9, so Kha'Zix is technically weaker now than he was, but I still see him preferred more than Elise. I don't know if it's his style, the fact that he utilizes a little bit of stealth, and that helps against Chinese warding, but he seems to be the go-to, but it is going to be the Elise lock-in.
It's another higher-end tier jungler, but I'm really surprised they didn't opt for Evelynn. Just because this is a champion that's pretty frequently banned across the board, and they don't take the opportunity once it's in there. But, you know, a little bit weak possibly to Lee Sin. Looks like Coco going to look for the lifesteal bot lane with his support partner right there. June, well, they want Thresh as well. So, looks like they might end up taking this one. Not really a whole lot of pressure to pick a support right now, since Braum already picked up. Gonna hesitate and hover it back over to Nami.
And obviously we've talked a little bit, or excuse me, extensively about the Nami Lucian lane and kind of how it's emerged in China during the World Elite playoffs there, and of course going to see
chat.
I know, right? Just a few times. I actually feel that in LSPL there's a lot more variety in picks than in LPL. A lot more, I should say, OGN influenced. I feel like they played a lot more Twisted Fate. They play a lot more Kassadin.
Played a bit of Orianna too, and that's going to be King locking that one in as well. So, yeah, this is looking to be a pretty safe opener from the side of King. They're really thinking about the Shyvana. I know this is not the greatest pick into Ryze, but in general, this is either going to indicate a lane swap, which is extremely common anyways, or they're just going to put a lot of jungle pressure on that side.
And you're exactly right. I would be shocked if there wasn't a lane swap. Obviously, Ryze isn't going to do as well in the double jungle, double buddy system.
Well, it's the LPL standard too, and wouldn't be surprised to see it's also the case in the LPL. And okay, Nidalee going to get picked up again. Nidalee 4.9 patch, still an extremely scary mid lane threat. Orianna very safe pick in general going blind into this one, so King makes that call very rightly so, but answered back on Dreamcatcher. And now we have our full lineups.
I feel like King's composition has a lot more damage threats actually across the board. Excuse me, not King, Dreamcatcher. Obviously, with your Rise, you're going to ramp in. Nidalee, of course, ramps really well. Lucian has a good mid-game power spike, but I feel like King has a better late game. Like, if this game stalls out, it's going to be for them.
Yeah. Although
都
there
是
is
非常非常
that's
不
too
错
loud. I'm
的
gonna turn down the
反而
sound.
就
Sorry, guys. There is definitely a good amount of ball delivery available on the side of King as well, though. They have a Shyvana, they have
Elise.
Elise and a Braum. So there's really a lot of mix it up, which is kind of nice. I like that. It seems like they might have been planning that from the beginning, but it's always possible that it just was, hey, look, we have all this displacement. We should totally just throw an Orianna on top of that one. And it's nice to see. So we'll see if it's enough to be able to deal with what Dreamcatcher is bringing out. And I don't know if it would be safe to say that King is a little bit favored in this match just because of their ranking. Don't believe they played yet, though, each other in the LSPL.
I'm trying to recall. I think I actually might have seen them play once, but I don't remember the aspects of the game. I do think that in their composition, their mid laner, Xiao Shen, though, is kind of, like you said, the big playmaker here on that Orianna, the fact that he has all those ball delivery systems. Whereas typically, like, you want to look at the AD carries, in this instance, Heartless and Coco, but I really do feel that all eyes are going to be on that mid lane and how Orianna really handles this matchup. Again, this is a best of 3, so it's not like the LPL where it's a set of 2 and you get points split. It's just for a winner-take-all prize pool. I believe it's a total prize pool of $118,000.
Roughly about that in American, yeah. It's a pretty big chunk of pie. And also, if you as an LSPL team make it far in this tournament, I mean, this is definitely going to be 2 LSPL teams, one knocking the other one out. If you make it pretty far as a second league team, it really lends a lot of credence to that idea that the LSPL teams are, in fact, the stronger ones of the 2 leagues in the country, and it's a bit of a chip on the shoulder from the LSPL teams to try and prove that. So these guys especially want it, but we are finally loaded up on a Summoner's Rift for the start of this best of 3 matchup. Again, this is a knockout, as you mentioned. It's going to be King on the blue side, taking on Dreamcatcher on the red, and they're walking straight out the gates, pinging for the Baron Pit area, even though it's only 15 minutes until it spawns, right?
That's not going to stop them from doing Baron.
Yeah, they want a team fight in it. Maybe they'll dance this time, a little non-aggression in the beginning.
Oh, I feel like every single time it's always a delayed invade. They've been really good about securing those early wards, obviously, with the changes to the trinkets that came on the last few patches, having them available 30 seconds out of the gate. And in fact, it does look like... Oh, yeah. I'm actually really surprised that Elise went Sweeper again. I feel like...
It was actually Braum.
9... or, excuse me, Elise didn't go Sweeper. Oh no, there she goes.
Yeah, okay, so decided to go back and pick it up, and that's a really good idea. Wait, did he place down the trinket first? Actually,
yeah, they place. So what they do is they go out into the lane, they place the trinket so they get the early ward, and then they go back and place the sweeper. And why it's like kind of really important for Elise to get a sweeper is because she's one of the few junglers that can check brushes. I mean, obviously Lee Sin can do it with his Sonic Wave, but he utilizes the ward with his, or excuse me, the trinket with his safeguard. Whereas Elise can check brushes with her Spiderling, so she doesn't necessarily need that secure extra vision. And then the fact that she ganks earlier makes it more useful to pick up a sweeper. So it's pretty much like the 99% of the time Elise's in the jungle will have a sweeper start versus a trinket start.
Absolutely. So now that the game is sort of settled into the early non-aggression, really these guys didn't get a chance to go at each other's throats. There's a big top lane jungle camping party, but still, which of course indicates that lane swap.
It's a delayed invade.
Oh, they are going to do it. Okay, cool. So they should be able to get away with this, force this one away. But I wanted to talk a little bit about the items just because you look at this mid lane on the side of Dreamcatchers. Nidalee picking up a Crystalline Flask first. A really curious choice just to avoid a little bit of early Orianna damage.
That's not a favorable matchup for her. Obviously, Ori can just throw on her her shield, her E, and start going to town onto Nidalee. So having the Flask is just to really survive the lane phase. I've never seen a Nidalee go that scared, so I don't know if it's just respect for Xiao Shen there from Yali or not, but it is a very conservative start. I understand like why it's doing it, just because this is not a formidable matchup, or not a favorable matchup for Nidalee, excuse me.
At least not the first 6 levels. Nidalee has a very, very rough early laning phase, especially 4.9 Nidalee that not quite as tanky as you'd like. Okay, so blue buff does get picked up on the other side. No problem for King. They just say, okay, we can't take ours, we'll take yours. And then they're going to do the jungle buddy system. Well, actually, this time it was with Braum because top laner Sky is going to be hanging around on the bot side of the jungle. So we see this very normal strategy developing once again, where the bottom side of jungle on either side of the river, controlled by blue team, vice versa for red team.
And now it's the Malashingo and Sky there butting up on the Wraith camps.
Shingo looking to make some early plays, but he won't really need to if this does result in a couple of towers, because this is just going to free up a lot of map pressure in general for both teams. Mid lane continued to trade tit for tat. Actually, a little bit better farm for Nidalee, very inconsequential amount, but still, that's pretty incredible coming from a Nidalee that just, again, does not have an extremely strong opening.
Yeah, she's only about 3 CS ahead just because Ori had a few CS in front of her that were under health, including the cannon minion there, so it's a little bit closer than that count really. Ooh, but actually...
Yep, Sky hanging out in the bushes.
Looks like it's going to be a 3-on-3 gank because...
Oh, wow, this is going to coalesce in the middle of this one. And Malashingo, hanging around in that bush, still decides, oh, we don't want that really. We want to go over to the Dragon Pit instead, so they're going to call over just about everybody. So King may be trying to sneak this Dragon at about 4 minutes here, and it's not being contested at all. They're only going to trade Wraith camps for it. What a nice maneuver from King to pull this early objective and get themselves a nice chunk of gold. Still no first blood 10 minutes into the game, but this is more common than not in the Chinese scene, seeing a early objective like Dragon going down before they actually get a first blood, unless there's a team fight, of course.
Yeah, I actually really like the read from Malashingo right there to say, okay, let's look mid, let's see if the jungler is going to show up here for a gank. If they don't show and they're not showing top, then obviously they're either back or they're in their own jungle, so we know that this dragon is safe. And obviously they know that they have complete control on that side of the map because they have the 2 people in the bot, so really nice strategy there. I'm always really impressed with the LSPL teams and their level of strategy. I feel like the games are almost more exciting and more strategical to watch than the actual LPL matches.
Yeah, I think they're a little bit more like a lot of other counterparts, like in OGN perhaps, or in, I guess NLB would be the equivalent, you'd say, but even if it's some of the same teams, they, well, I'll talk about it in a minute because there's definitely a lot of people coalescing on this top tower. Sky trying to defend it out, but he's getting just, they're not even quite diving on him yet, but here they go. There's the Rune Prison locking him up. Health bar is melting rapidly. This will be first blood. It took just a minute to get going, but LA was taking shots as well as Cluo, and they managed to pick this one up. Should be able to push this tower down as they realize what's happening. They're still just going to let the Twitch continue to farm up. That is, of course, Wujin Heartless over there, pushing that one by himself, but they don't quite have the pushing power to make it happen, and neither does Dreamcatcher, it would appear. They're going to leave this one alone as Braum gets back to lane.
Just killing off all that CS. Fantastic job with tower juggling right there and allowing Coco to get the first blood after the 4-minute mark. So the full 400 gold being paid out to that Lucian, that's exactly where he wants to be, especially facing off against a solo farm Twitch there, but 10 CS up. 34 to 44.
They did a really nice dive in that. Normally when you see a dive, especially with less experienced teams, you'll see the team going all in the moment they reveal and just wanting to put the damage out as fast as possible, almost in like a panic. But this time, you noticed, they were in no hurry on the side of Dreamcatcher. They all got into the area. Sky was like surrounded by 4 people, and they weren't even attacking it. They were just waiting for a good position, and then they went in. Such control out of Dreamcatcher, and it got them, netted them nice and easy kill, and Sky knew he had nowhere to go, and he just pretty much accepted his fate.
And up in this top lane, Sky's going to get some babysitting right now from the form of Little Bun here.
Now, still uncontested in this bot side as Wujin continues to free farm it up, and Twitch is a very, very scary later game threat, although he does have a deficit in his farm right now. Lucian doing a lot better on Coco, and I don't know if it would be safe to say that Coco is maybe the better known AD carry.
He's definitely one of the members to watch for Dreamcatchers.
One of those names that people tend to remember a little bit more, and helped for me by the fact that it's written in English as well. I don't have to constantly be translating it in my head as well. Okay, so Sky, whoop, ooh, he's going to trade a bit of damage to Coco. That tower is pretty low, though. If they want to dive it, they're going to have the potential to do this. But again, Lucian Twitch, this is the matchup that we see quite frequently, and it'll be more apparent in the later game as well, that this is a kind of a thing. Whoop, Spear's going to fly, and, well, Gally going to help out the rest of his team over to this blue buff as June starts it right on off. They will be picking that one up for free, pretty much not really going to be contested. Lucian going to be able to back. Coco has himself a nice, decent farm lead, should be able to start onto his, well, actually it depends on if he wants to go for the Bloodthirster Red. Looks like he does. He's going to be picking up that BF sword first and the long sword to compensate it as well. Twitch been unable to back as he really only has tower pressure that he's been wanting to put
What
on so
I
far.
really like here, and what's important, is you see that Elise, Malashingo was actually going for the blue buff, but they actually did the lane swap. So as soon as they went and they contested the enemy blue buff, And now Lucian Coco here, if he realizes what's going on, he should be able to walk over there and find Elise. But it looks like he's just going to walk back to his lane. But that could have been really scary right there to secure both blue buffs away from the enemy team.
Malashingo's getting antsy too. He leaves just in time as June arrives to the party. So this is going to let the lane sort of reset to a semblance of normalcy. We've got the 2v2 about to go down, and this is where you see Coco starting to duke it out just a little bit with Wujin, with Heartless there. But he's not quite back in lane yet. He did actually back, so he could go ahead and pick up his Bilgewater Cutlass as well as add in another piece of his Bork there, the dagger, and, well, he's going to stop on his way and pick up a couple of golems, and then he'll be able to head back into the lane. This is going to be a decent matchup for Twitch, despite being down a little bit of farm. But up in the top lane, Sky and Yali are going to have a little bit more trouble. Well, at least Sky's going to have a little bit more trouble because Ryze, one of those counters to the top lane tanky bruisers.
The big issue that I actually see on the map right now, you were talking about the bottom lane, the 2v2. Braum is actually a level underneath Nami. He just leveled up, so they're now both level 5, but Nami does have the experience lead on to Little Bun here.
Not to mention the Sightstone, too.
Well, yeah, and the fact that Heartless was effectively left alone in the lane to get free farm and experience, he doesn't have a lead on Coco.
Now Malashingo looking to go in on this, but he doesn't realize he's standing on top of a ward. He's going to go in anyways. Coco's taken pretty low by that Braum, and he's going to get the lockup onto June. Here we go. Diving forward on it, but it's getting turned around by Coco. Repel's going to come up. Braum is going to unbreakable the culling, but it does still deal a bit of damage. And here comes Wujin on the outside. See if he can get the kill. Oh, kick. Oh my goodness. That was not where he wanted to be. Has to spend both summoners just to get out of that situation, and they do not manage to pick up Cluo either, so no deaths. This is an extremely low death game, actually. The finesse these teams are playing at.
It's more about rotations and map pressure so far. We did talk about, obviously, the nice First Blood top, the early dragon, the fact that they contested both blue buffs. But you are very right, much more controlled.
Get the catch up onto Elise. Okay, there's the repel, there's the flash. Sorry to interrupt you for just a minute there, Frost. Didn't know if that was going to be another death.
No, quite all right, but we do have dragon spawning in just a second here.
Oh, here we go, and there's a teleport actually in the bot side here. Yali looking to come in on this one. This is a big power move. They can get the kill. Oh my goodness, they're going to lock up Twitch before he can even go ambush, and that is going to be Coco picking up his second kill of the game. Braum trying to kite back and away. There's the tidal wave, the aggressive tidal wave that we see so often in China. Going to be forcing Braum to spend one of his flashes. He's still a threat in the area, but extremely low right now. Malashingo coming around the side trying to pick up the dragon, but this one should go easily over to Dreamcatcher.
What a finesse little sidestep from Little Bun right there to dodge the tidal wave and flash over the back of the dragon wall. I know you talked about how a lot of Namis will use the tidal wave offensively like that, but that was really beautiful by him.
Yep. Oh, geez, you got to get out of there, Nidalee. Keep on running, and that will be the safe card over the wall as well from Cluo. So Yali is got to be a little bit more careful than that, I would say.
I mean, obviously you can't face check into an Orianna with a shockwave. Lucky that it wasn't Syndra. Would have completely died right there. But yeah, it's just kind of a classic move. Oh, I know that my enemy lane opponent wandered out into the river. I bet if I stand in this bush and wait for them to face check back into me, some success will come my way.
And for those of you wondering why there was a quick little pause screen there, apparently that's what happens when you're on the pause screen on the stream in China. So not on our end. We can totally blame that one on the other stream. Anyways, by the way, guys, we are still broadcasting off a stream. Just very, very quick update on that one. We will be moving over to the Tournament Realm account legit on the client very, very soon. It should be completed by this next week, by the next time we get back to the LPL broadcast. So look for that one. It is going to be just an awesome step up for the LPL broadcast in English. So, okay, up on the top side, Don duking it out with Sky, and looks like Cluo wanting to hang around the other side as well. There's been a very active jungling Lee Sin, but he doesn't have too much to show for it, just an assist. He does, however, have his completed jungling item. So he's going to put a little bit of damage on should he try to go in there. But there's the counter gank from Malashingo. They don't see the spider in the brushes. And they're not going to worry about it. Sneaky spider. He's going to clear some wars in the top side, though.
What I do want to address while Malashingo and Cluo are actually kind of in the same side of the map, 38 to CS 252 on a Lee Sin to have the advantage right there. And again, another blue buff contestation and steal, effectively.
Yeah, they are not giving each other any respect in this top side or the bot side jungle, and it's just been one blue buff sneak after another for both these teams, and they're just sort of trying to out-juke each enemy team. They don't want to engage hard. I think both these teams have reasonable mid-game scaling, and that's what they're waiting to hit, this power spike where there's already towers taken down, and they can have big fights over the dragon. So far, the teams have split 1-1 dragon as well. And of course, you know, once it is 50 minutes, Baron's on the table. But here's a big dive. Oh my goodness, Twitch getting taken extremely low. The tidal wave being spent. Coco gonna mop that one up as well. And all of a sudden, it's Little Bun on his own, but he's gonna get the stun off. And then there's gonna be a culling quickly spent by Coco. Here comes Malashingo trying to get the kill on the outside. He's gonna lock up June for just a moment, but he's getting taken low as well. The bubble's gonna not land. Coco still putting pressure on him. And here is a big maneuver from DC to try and take this tower down. They should be able to put a whole lot of damage out. Looks like they will take it down at the end of the day, but the two-man roam comes down in the form of Kluo and Yali, and they do manage to take the turret down. 2 more kills as well, 4-0 in favor of DC.
Unfortunately, King's bot lane just straight up lost to June and Coco right there, and with that, they lose all of the that they needed. I mean, we've effectively talked about how when you have a 2v2, that lane swap right now, that the map gets cut vertically rather than horizontally, which means that the blue buff has been denied from Orianna every single time, and their chance to now secure an enemy blue buff for her, which they had been previously doing, at least Malashingo had been taking it so they wouldn't get 2 buffs, completely lost right there, and the fact that the bot lane just straight up lost the 2v2.
Yeah, definitely miscommunication on that side of the bot lane too. You could tell Heartless went in a little far, and there wasn't the backup from Little Bun to try and make that stun up. He did go in and pop down a Q just to get a little extra stacking for the concussive blows, but he didn't get enough damage onto him to make it to really finish him off. And then you can't leave somebody like Coco, especially a 2-kill previously to that Coco, even half alive, because he will burst you down. This is what Lucian does on 4-9, an extremely powerful, quick bursting AD carry, and Coco picked himself up 2 more kills for the trouble. Very much the powerhouse right now of this Dreamcatcher team.
Yeah, and making the correct read here. Seeing Coco in that mid lane does have the BT and the Sheen available to him, so you are correct. This is the most dangerous that Lucian really becomes in mid game, the biggest power spec that he'll have over his enemies, and he'll be able to burn down this tower very, very quickly, utilizing his passive.
This spear dodging master, although he can't dodge all the Lucian shots as well. Gives himself all the way down to half health with a piercing light and a few more. Coco getting a little greedy, trying to push forward. He will tank a few tower shots, but there is plenty of action in this mid lane. The DC team is roaming as for very well. They do have a teleport available on Dawn should they need to spend it. Well, looks like King wants to go in on this one, but they've got to be extremely careful right now. Malashingo's already backed, and here he goes back in again. Twitch is invisible. They're going to look for this one, Heartless, and there is the big ultimate on Braum, but it's only going to land down on June. He's taken really low, and Sky's going to pick up the kill on him. Meanwhile, Heartless in the front of all the action, putting a lot of damage out with the rat-a-tat-tat. And they do not manage to pick up any more on top of that one, though. But they did get a nice kill into June. That's their first kill of the game. King looking to make a power play on this one, taking the mid tower, but they don't have a wave with them just yet. Here it comes, right behind him, backing up. This is still a dangerous front line, and there's going to be a culling spent. Coco clearing that wave with relative ease. Down it goes.
Yeah, I was going to say, unfortunately, that was a big Braum ultimate expended for only the support pickup, and not really around the dragon or anything like that. Dragon will spawn in about 30 seconds here, so the big next point of contention, but didn't really get anything for all the cooldowns burned. And they may now be out of position to capitalize on this dragon as, again, it approaches the 15-second.
Yeah, this one should definitely be in favor of Dreamcatcher right now, should they want to put this. But there's a lot of pressure still in the mid side, as we see both Xiao Shen and Yali just kind of duking it out, but here June coming around the side again too, and so is Kluo. They just want to force the pressure away. Looks like Heartless is going to be here, so is Malashingo. Trying to clear wards. Sky is now here too. Teleport from Rise could come in any minute. There is going to be an offensive ultimate spent from June, but they're going to just try and chase people away. Sky going to clear that pink ward out as well. Dragon Dance is going to commence here. Third dragon of the game, and it's 17 minutes in, and they're just looking for an opening. Oh, looks like Kluo's going to get caught up, but he safeguards away anyways. Dragon being started right now by King. It's a 5v4, but there's always that teleport threat. And so far, they're not too worried about it. The longer they stall out, the better this favors Dreamcatcher. They get a chance for Dawn to come in whenever they need him.
And you're absolutely right. Dawn's sitting into that top lane, split push Rise, now a very real possibility right here. And no one's forcing this dragon or forcing this fight. I feel like they need to force the teleport and look for a numbers advantage right here. But unfortunately, that cooldown being burned on Nami, they do not have the Braum ultimate available to start this fight, which is really what's punishing them right now.
Yeah, DC doesn't quite have the engagement pressure they really need, but they do manage to get the tower down, and King realizing what happens. They actually back away from this one, so the dragon's not going to be taken right now, but they realize they have to answer this very real threat of Dawn pushing the top lane in so hard right now. And now they're going to turn back for Dragon once again. DC trying to capitalize on the slight mispositioning of King, and they're going to try and burst this one down, see if they can do it. They do have Coco. He's just getting in there right now, and that is a lot of damage being put out onto that Drake. He's not very happy, but here comes Malashingo trying to get the contest. Can he get the smite steal away? He does, and he gets kicked out of the pit for all of his trouble. Braum ultimate going to be spent for no avail, and here comes around the side. There's the ball delivery system Dragon. Sky's going to put a lot of hurt onto DC. They don't get a kill just yet. Coco's going to fall finally, and it's going to be Sky picking it up. He's going to flash forward for himself a double kill. Actually, it's going to be 2 kills, but the second one was picked up by Heartless. So a Dragon Steal, 2 kills. Very nice play by King, and very good timing by Malashingo.
I was just going to say, the position on King on that last rotation was awful. They were effectively going to lose 3 global objectives to nothing, but they finally made the call, had the Braum ultimate, had the Dragon's Descent for the hard engage, and made it happen. A fantastic steal from Malashingo right there.
Yeah, and even though there was no one hit by Little Bun's ultimate, that was a really fantastic use of it to just zone them away from the pit. It had already gone down, but they were in full retreat, and it did line them up pretty nicely for the Dragon Descent on Sky, and then really good placement of the ball as well. So a very good team fighting presence, and this is a team that gets pretty good into the late game. Twitch, I would argue, has better scaling than Lucian, especially the later the game goes. It's only 19 minutes, but seeing as how the lanes have already evaporated, Lucian's calling the longer the game goes on is going to be more and more useful for clearing waves and less useful for putting damage onto single targets.
What's unfortunate for King here is the 0 to 4 objectives in the favor of Dreamcatchers right now. They pretty much have 0 map pressure just because of how the waves are, and they need to start focusing. Now that Dragon is down, they need to start looking mid, but unfortunately, like you said, that culling being utilized to clear waves and the fact that approaching a Nidalee on a tower is pretty dangerous at this point in the game because those spears are really starting to hurt.
Yeah, speaking of hurt, Sky's taking a lot of damage from Dawn in the top, and this is just, no matter what stage in the game you are, this is an unfavorable matchup, and as long as they want to leave Sky in the top, it's going to cause problems for King. That top lane, very much under a lot of pressure, and they have managed to get towers. They will pick this first one up in the mid, though, so a nice 4-man squad manages to power on through, and they take it down.
They should rotate top.
Yeah, they are rotating toward that top. It's almost like they're listening to you, Frosk.
It's almost like I knew that they should have gone mid and taken that tower.
Yeah,
and now they should rotate top and dive that rise.
Actually, they're wanting to try and commence a Baron dance. It's 20 minutes into the game.
No.
I think if I look at my LSPL watch, I believe that is Baron time.
I'm going to do it. I'm going to set up a timer, and anytime a Chinese team goes around Baron or sits in that pit, I'm going to hit the timer, and we're just going to see how much time is waffled and wasted in that that dead man zone.
It's never wasted. It's just a very elaborate interpretive dance, and the winner gets the Baron.
I feel like they throw that ball so hard that it's still up in the air. There are some Baron throws that were thrown so hard that even though those games are over and done with, that throw is still up in the air.
That's a very deep statement when you think about it. You really should consider going into philosophy. Yeah, I mean, casting is okay, but you can definitely.
I remember some OMG games that still like burn my soul, but this game we are King TC GC. I'm just gonna try to.
A little post-traumatic stress there, huh, Frosk? Okay.
It's coming all back to me.
Shingo, this guy is so good at dodging those Nidalee spears. I don't think there's been one connecting on him today. And remember, this is still extremely scary Nidalee. This is a near death calf Nidalee. And you gotta wonder if the Crystalline Flask hadn't gone down early, if this would maybe be a little bit different right now. But so far, been effectively neutralized in this mid lane. Just not at all. Actually, both these mid lanes, although you got to give a little more credit over to the side of King, as we've seen Zhao Shen actually doing a lot for his team with the ball delivery system, but Yali just hasn't made an impact.
I can see you rifling through your notes. How do I say it? How do I pronounce his name?
I'm trying really hard. Is it coming through? But as soon as I say that, I get proven wrong because he manages to land a spear onto Little Bun. But I mean, this is the tankiest member of King, so you're not going to be able to do that much damage. Still manages to put out some, so he'll be backing in just a moment, or maybe he just wants to hang out in the bush. Whoa, near miss on the spear again, but another really excellent mechanics out of this King side.
I wanted to talk a little bit more about, as we're looking at Nidalee. Nidalee's still 0-0-0. Effectively has done, I wouldn't say has done nothing for her team right now, because obviously you can't really measure pressure on a map, but as far as the score-wise, has literally done nothing for her team here.
So again, now Nidalee's, she's getting mad. I'm as soon as I'm saying it, the spears are starting to fly. But yeah, 0-0 actually for a lot of the teams. The only kills this game on DC's side have gone over to Coco, and part of that's deliberate. Remember, they value 80 carries extremely highly in China, but this is a team that has a very hefty, hefty weighted 80 carry, particularly. But Coco, effectiveness very good right now. Does start to fall off later on. I know I keep harping on it, but this is when you need to start having Nidalee and Rise start to shine.
You are absolutely correct. They need to utilize this Lucian's power spike right now. Unfortunately, because the map is so split open, again, they've taken down so many towers that there's a lot of space for King to run around in. They don't necessarily have the best hard engage. They have the tidal wave. I mean, you can get like an insect going, the Dragon Rage on the safeguard. You have the Rise W, but they don't really have that Braum ultimate, that shockwave, that Dragon Descent going for them. So it's very hard for them to lock down this this King team.
Yeah, they don't have the greatest hard engage. You have to try and get an angle on single targets to be able to lock them up. You've got Dawn is able to get a second stun off. You've got Cluo. He can do the little jump, ward hop, dragon kick back, and then try to lock somebody up. But Dragon about to be up in 5 more seconds, and this is the more comfortable game that both teams know and love. Forget sieging towers. It's all about those neutral objectives, right?
Well, this is actually what Dreamcatchers really wants, because again,
giant shockwave onto June, but they can't capitalize on it. Rise in the area too. A lot of it just used to distract from the fact that they're starting the Dragon already, and Dreamcatcher wants to take this one, but they're not in a position to do it. Fight's going to commence. There's a big Braum ultimate, and they are diving all forward. The Dragon Descent goes, and Nami uses the wave, but it doesn't do a whole lot to everybody. On the outside, you have Heartless trying to put some damage out, but he's taken pretty low. Manages to just put damage down on the other side, and no fatalities this game. Just a lot of damage.
Dragon did go over in favor to King, so of course there's a big bonus for them right there. But unfortunately, that cooldown, super important. Again, burned on June there. I feel like June is getting every single Braum ultimate for himself, every single shockwave for himself. Not that it wasn't a nice shockwave because it almost killed him, but effectively if he had had that shockwave available to him on the Dragon's Descent, completely different team fight. Dreamcatchers were able to try to stand toe-to-toe and contest that after the Dragon went down, knowing that the Orianna ultimate wasn't there. And again, this blue buff steal, they are relentless.
Yep. Oh, wow. Clue's going to get locked up. Sky's in there, too. They want to fight this one out. Dreamcatcher put a lot of pressure in this jungle side as they had a little bit of time and didn't want to opt to push in that mid as well. Oh, Coco taking some damage on the Venomous Cask. But they stayed a little long, and this is where it gets a bit dangerous. You're still low from that last fight. Here comes Heartless trying to find an angle where he can put some damage down. Oh, Spear's going to land, though, in the mid side. There's literally hanging around the side. Those are getting deadlier and deadlier. Malashingo can't dodge them all, and he takes one to the face. But here the pressure continues from Dreamcatcher.
25-minute 0-0-0 Nidalee.
There we go.
That's
There's
all I'm going to
say. Yep, it's a very unusual thing to see, but maybe they're getting used to the Nidalee nerfs that are coming in. Of course, a lot of people still liking it, just in a very different way. Pressure being exerted on this mid tower right now, but DC clumping up. Nice. Oh, Malashin goes way too low. Can't get involved in this one. Twitch is going to get locked up as well, but the Dragon's Descent going to go in. They still want to fight this one. I don't believe it. Sky tanking up everything, and here is Cluo around the side trying to make something happen. Looks like Coco going to pick up a kill onto Braum. Little Bun went a little too far forward, and he gets gobbled up. Down goes Cluo, though. Whoa! Okay, so they 1 for 1. All right. Totally worth. 2 for 1, excuse me.
2 for 1. He got a kill.
Yay! Okay,
yeah.
So in all of the craziness, we saw actually Xiao Shen going down as well, and this tower should fall. They don't have anything left in the tank, and Dreamcatcher just better at playing the objective game, even though King has 2 dragons to 1.
Sky was way too far forward in that team fight, especially without the Orianna shockwave right there. I don't know if that was a miscommunication or what, but to Dragon, he effectively, I mean, there's a difference between tanking and feeding relentlessly, and obviously the line is drawn on what your team does with your quote-unquote tanking right there. Sky, that was feeding. You just ran into 5 people and you just died. Your shockwave didn't come down, you didn't kill anyone, so unfortunately. That was a pretty questionable Dragon's Descent.
Yeah, it was very weird to see. It seemed like they wanted to fight it, but they didn't have anybody reasonably high level. At that point, Heartless had been locked up on a rune prison. He was about a quarter of his health left, and then the dive-in happens, and then they just sort of walked in like lambs to the slaughter after that.
Exactly, and Malashingo had caught effectively every single spear. We keep joking about this Nidalee 1-0-0. You can't measure map pressure, guys, but he had effectively caught every single spear with his teeth and
only needs to land 1.
Just that one spear.
Oh, they're pinning it for Baron. Here we go.
She got 1.
There we go. Malashingo looking for a catch onto Cluo, but they don't get anything on it. And both Braum and Elise with a couple of nice lockups. Doesn't really happen on anything. Dawn pushing up on the top side. He's got teleport available once again. This is immense split put pressure. Orianna going to come around the side and try to take him down. Malashingo is going to opt to clear waves instead. There's a teleport down to the bot, so top laners will continue to be top laners, even if they're not in the top lane. There's a kickback, though, as Little Bun finding himself caught out. He looks very tasty, and they take him down. Nidalee getting the kill credit on that one. So a 2-0 Nidalee, starting to catch up in the KDA department, it looks like.
And it only took 28 minutes, but, you know,
yeah, but
he's
this
up there right
this
now.
is Baron pressure they have right now. Dreamcatcher knows they can make something here. King, even though they might have come in a little bit favored top of the LSBL, they are a little bit shaky, and you can see they do not have the confidence to follow through on this right now. They have not been winning team fights.
The number one issue with King having that title of being the number one team in LSPL right now is, again, we talked about how they haven't really faced any formidable opponents. They did split 1-1 against kind of the only other, I'm going to use the word decent team, Energy Pacemaker Hong Kong. They split 1-1, but it hasn't meant much for them. This Baron's actually going to force Dreamcatchers off. Baron MVP of this match. I think he's done the most damage.
The wave, but it misses. So June just trying to zone away. They want to start this Baron. You can tell. Dreamcatcher, despite being up, is very antsy to get this. Oh, Coco going to take some damage. Heal it back up, though. And now we see King trying to capitalize by moving towards the mid to take out the second-tier turret, see if they can put some damage onto it. They do have a wave with them, and they should be able to burst it down should they focus hard, but this is a dangerous spot to be in. Colling's going to come out. There's the command shockwave. It lands on a lot of people. They want to dive this, but no, they don't. Backing away now. Dreamcatcher will lose themselves a tower on the slight mispositioning. Dragon up in another minute. Should be contested once again, but there's always the present Baron threat. And they're paying for it once again. They want to fight. They want to take a fight. Here we go. Venomous Cat's going to land. Nidalee getting locked up on everything. Bramwell's going to go in. Shyvana way to the back line. And Nidalee going to fall immediately to Heartless. This is a 5v4 right now. June, he's caught out as well. Going to get stunned up and locked up. Down he goes. The credit goes over to Orianna. It's a 5v3. And it looks like King's going to turn for Baron this time.
They can definitely turn for Baron. They have to be careful, though, because Lee Sin is still alive, JK right there, has the steal potential. And obviously, a lot of professionals actually say that when you have a steal, I mean, everyone makes fun of, oh, why can't my jungler smite, just hit the smite? It's actually, a lot of professionals say that the person who's going to steal it has a better percentage of getting the Baron just because they kind of have the element of surprise.
Yeah, you get lulled into a false sense of security sometimes. Well, no, nothing happening right now for them as, whoop, JK going to get really, really close to getting in there. It doesn't get the steal off. The Baron will go over, but Sky is taken pretty low in the process. They do manage to get JK on the outside. Coco getting locked up too. If they can get the kill on him, the command shockwave completely whiffs, but they take down Coco nonetheless. Heartless is looking very good right now, and he's caught up in KDA.
And this is kind of the King that we were expecting to come in from here. Not that Coco isn't a fantastic AD carry, but King does have the record of being first in LSPL. It was a little curious how they were down for so long, but now coming up into the 31 minute mark, 47k to 43, so a nice 5k advantage in their favor. 8 to 7, a very slow kill game. It's funny, I actually feel that the meta is very different watching kind of the LSPL teams play as we've gotten a little bit more familiar with the Demacia Cup. You have to think that in China there are 20 League of Legends servers. So just think about that right now. There are 20 servers.
There's quite a large player base as well.
Yeah, there's a huge player base. But 20 servers, there are over 1,000 challenger teams.
Yeah, so it kind of makes the perspective a little bit more enlightening, I'd say. But these really are teams that have faced a lot of competition and a lot of just raw talent in the region as well. And China, in the West, China just isn't really seen as much, and it's not well known. This is, of course, something that we're definitely trying to change. But these guys just don't really get considered very much by their Western counterparts until we come up with, big events like All-Stars and things like that. But they're always an extremely powerful region, usually just behind the Koreans. And even though they have incredible mechanics, sometimes strategy is lacking. Not the case this game, as both King and Dreamcatchers looking very, very professional right now.
And that's the thing, like, this really looks like a game from NALCS, and my thing is, I feel like the talent pool is so much bigger. Like, you have to think in LPL, you're facing the same 8 teams over and over. OMG, EDG, their strategies have actually stayed very stagnant, although Teamfight looks like it might break down over this tower.
That's an interesting point with the LSPL, that you have all these teams that are always coming and going, and you have to adapt to so many strategies.
Yeah, exactly, and they're just, the picks seem a little bit more consistent with what we see on the international scene. They play certain picks that OGN picks up a lot better than we've seen in LPL.
Love that Nami, yeah.
And so I feel like the meta is definitely very different in LSPL, which kind of lends to the credit that people believe that it's actually the better region. And I can kind of see, like, right now, even though this isn't the most exciting game, the strategical tactical and map pressure decisions on this game are leaps and bounds over a lot of LPL teams.
What are you talking about? This is incredibly exciting. I'm on the edge of my seat. This tower is going to fall. Oh my god, come on guys, let's go. Now, they've been putting a lot of pressure on it. This is the continued siege pressure from King, but they've got to be careful. There's always loose spears flying left and right, and Coco is calling away every mini wave that comes his way, but he's got to be really careful. Here's the dive on, and they get the wave, but Coco, he's being focused down so hard, should fall after this one. Oh my goodness, he nearly survives, and they take him down at the end of the day. Heartless getting the credit for that one. Chasing forward, the Rat is putting out the hurt, and it is a 5v4. Tower going to fall now. They cannot contest this one. Dreamcatcher very slowly but surely getting forced back on the back of this Baron buff that King is using so effectively.
They finally get the tower. They had to expend a lot for it, and their Baron really didn't pay off. So yes, a fantastic job from Dreamcatchers right there for the anti-siege. Obviously, those Nidalee spears and that Coaling coming in very much handy, but King didn't get out of that Baron what they had wanted, really.
They did manage to put a little bit of pressure down, but
they got a tower.
they got a tower. They evened up the tower count, and there's really only... It's actually dead even lane-wise, just because the towers that have fallen have been the exact same ones on either side. The difference that you're starting to see is Dreamcatcher, although they looked very strong in the opener, they don't have great hard engage, especially not now that Lee Sin and Lucian really have started to fall off. Coco is really not putting out the damage he used to. He's going for a Blade of the Rune King now, but he's just trying to sustain up through these fights, and Twitch is just wrecking his day.
Heartless definitely has the range advantage on him as well. Obviously able to sit in the back with that rat-a-tat-tat while the Dragon Descent and the Shockwave go in. Or the Repel Shockwave. It's a very nice wombo combo team composition. It's really favoring King right now as they find kind of these open match fights.
Well,
unfortunately,
they're focusing on Orianna. DC does not have a lot of armor on their side. In fact, the only member of their team that's built any armor at all is actually JK. And this is giving him an advantage right now. He doesn't even need a Last Whisper just yet, even though he's building up to it.
And he also has a lot of incomplete items, actually. He's sitting on quite a few recipes.
Yeah, it's sort of like a what do you need at the time. It's a patchwork Lee Sin build.
Not the most effective.
Well, I mean,
it's the grandmother's quilt Lee Sin build.
He can't really tell what he's building. He can't see what he puts on in the morning. You leave the guy alone, Frosk. All right, another siege going on.
I want a Lee Sin skin that's like dressed by your grandmother.
Oh my god, that's just
because it can't
mean.
tell.
Whoa. Speaking of mean, this guy gets kicked away. So apparently you can kick a dragon out of the way. That is a very, very powerful foot pressure. But they're gonna take
again
this.
a very
oh my goodness.
They have to utilize this ult because otherwise it's a huge waste.
Yeah, and that's one of the proper ways to utilize the Nami ult, but it's not gonna push them back. They're just gonna go right back on in and look at the siege pressure they have. Sky tanks spears to the face and he doesn't care. Bubble lands on everybody. There's still no way they can hard engage this. The split push is coming out of Dawn. But they're putting a lot of damage onto everybody that even gets within range. And Little Bun gonna jump to the rescue and tank up a lot of damage. They do trade tower for tower though, so at the end of the day, despite the 4-man siege or the 5-man siege, 4-man now that Sky's gone back, looks like DC actually just about evened that one up because nobody was there to contest Dawn.
I still feel like DC consistently are making the better map rotations and the better pressure calls. And I feel like the only thing that's really keeping King in this game right now is their wombo combo composition. Did it hurt to get a free Baron? No, which another Baron's about to spawn in a minute, but I honestly feel like Dreamcatchers looks like the smarter team. Dawn obviously being a huge part of that with that split push top lane rise. Who knew?
Well, they're able to play from behind, and this is a really, really important thing. So these teams, well adapted to one another, are able to keep the pressure on, despite the 7k gold deficit that Dreamcatcher finds themselves in. They're in a pretty good shape to contest this Baron. Open inhibitors on both top sides of the map, and you can bet as soon as this Baron goes down, whoever does take it, the other team is going to be going straight for that.
And despite the fact that Dreamcatchers didn't get the last Baron, they actually really like the Baron dance, obviously because they have that Nidalee pick right there. Nidalee incredibly successful at these objective dances, throwing in a lot of spears, creating those long, sustained fights.
Well, King liked the Baron so much that they decided to hang out in the pit before he even spawned. So they'll not be entirely rude. They're gonna wait for him to come back to his house. But they're gonna back away now as they don't have the pressure to be able to put it on. Little do they know, Dreamcatcher also backing away and trying to push some waves out. But you're right, they do look a little bit like the smarter team. Despite being down, they're playing like they're ahead almost, and they're getting away with it too.
I just think they're being very controlled with their map
Oh,
movements here.
nice sneak over. They realize that the dragon is going down, and they start the Baron off. It's already at half health. They should be able to take this one down. Only Little Bun is in the area to contest. He realizes way too late that they're doing it and give that one over. Dreamcatcher sneaks themselves a free Baron.
I how can you let that happen? We just went on this big long tangent about how the LSPL teams look a little bit smarter than the LPL team just because they have so much more talent pool and strategy to kind of work with and to influence their gameplay. And then something like that happens and I'm like, nope, it's definitely China. Baron just got snuck and no one contested it at all.
Yeah, they didn't have the ward coverage down on it they really needed to justify heading down towards the Dragon Pit. They will compensate a little bit by taking the Dragon, but that really gives Dreamcatcher a much better shot at this later game. And you know, it's way too early to see if that ends up resulting in the turnaround, but that's the start of it for Dreamcatcher if they do get it.
I'm so aghast that that happened. Literally, they had gone and they had secured the vision on it, and then as soon as they lost vision, they didn't stop and think to themselves, huh, you know, I bet we should probably be up there, but unfortunately, like you said, this does put Dreamcatcher kind of back into the driver's seat, or at least gives them a little bit of breathing room for the next 4 minutes or so.
It was
I'm curious if they're
scandalous for you, huh?
I shake my head sometimes. I'm curious if they're going to try to transition this into that open inhibitor on that top lane. They could try to go for a siege. Again, it's very dangerous for them to fight kind of out in this open. They've been doing really well because they've been effectively anti-sieging with that
too.
Nami ultimate. Yeah, exactly, and split pushing.
They do seem to have a really good
they don't want to
strategy
fight
going.
the wombo combo, effectively. They kind of want those skirmish battles, the long, sustained, drawn out, everyone's kind of spread out around the map, people keep coming and going, because A, it allows more Nidalee spears, B, they don't want to fight a 5v5. Like, King has the superior 5v5 comp, so if they can continuously get 3v3s, 2v3s, 3v4s, that's always to an advantage to them.
Yeah, at this point, Dreamcatcher just, you know, they don't have the composition, like you mentioned, to really take a straight fight, and they have, the only really late game they have on their side right now is that Nidalee, but as long as they can keep Yali safe and try to do this 4-1 split push that they've been very effective at all game, if they can bait out a 4v5 and they just keep falling back and kiting again, they should buy a lot of time for Dawn to be able to push these waves out, and they have a real chance at just sneaking it down. King, they really just look like they're kind of ADD right now. They're trying to focus on objectives, and they're trying to roam together, but then they leave something completely wide open, and it gets immediately punished by Dreamcatcher.
ADD. They're just walking through the jungle like, huh, race.
That would be a really good name for one of these guys. You know, there's no more PDD, so they have a chance for ADD to take the reins. I know, I'm sorry, that was a little too soon for you.
That really touched a tender spot, but it does look like King's actually maybe looking at an objective, a contestation on a Baron team in their own base.
Not sure if want.
This is my skeptical voice.
Not sure if want. Now, King
They got
still,
their backer.
despite the Baron, they are up a pretty significant gold lead. And they do have, well, not so much an item advantage on really anybody, but JK he's still sitting on a lot of recipes. But this gets more and more dangerous because you have a Rise that's got a Seraph's Embrace. Yeah, that is another thing, too. They love that Yoma's Ghostblade.
Well, think about that. So, Doublelift has been very vocal saying that Banshee Veil is what makes an AD carry overpowered. It makes them effectively unkillable, especially against a Rise. So he already has, he effectively is a 6-item Twitch, and that Dragon
is
going
to stop this teleport. He doesn't get it. Sorry. Please continue the AD carry speech.
What a BM on that teleport, though. That was pretty good. He did force the teleport out for the Dragon Descent, so cooldown in his advantage. He's going to slash all worth. That's what that is. This Twitch build, this is effectively a 6-item Twitch. He'll probably sell that Ghostblade down the line. Obviously, Ghostblade being picked up. People hear the Ghostblade Lucian. We talk about it all the time, of course, that it helps utilize Soul a lot better, popularized by Name. With Twitch, it's a very big, mid-game power spike item, instead of going like a Phantom Dancer, and also helps him reposition with his stealth because it gives him the movement speed. So it offers him a little bit of protection, which is why you see Twitch go it. I expect to see him sell this down the line, but effectively right now, this Twitch is very, very scary and very, very strong. Excuse me, not a Phantom Dancer. He'll probably sell it for a BT or something.
Yeah, might go up to an eye edge at the end of the day, but he's really, really scary in the fact that he's got the Ferrer Boots upgrade. That means that every time he puts damage out, he's going to get a bit more speed up. This is a Twitch that wants to fight as long as possible. They want to take this, and now they're focusing on this open inhibitor on the bot side. Rom coming in as well to try and help this 4-man push it out. Meanwhile, they have a split push going in the top, giving them a taste of their own medicine as Sky duking it out with Dawn in the top lane. But they should be able to, with enough waves and time, push this one down. This guy's going to get locked up.
That's fair.
Yep, okay.
The nice thing about their composition, as far as King goes, is they don't have to rely on the Dragon Descent for their hard engage. They do have the Braum ult still available. Of course, you have the Repel and the Shockwave, so a 4-1 split actually works fairly well for them. And again, we've seen already that Ryze is actually a little bit afraid of Shyvana. I don't know if he teleported out of that last time because he didn't have eyes on the rest of the team and he was afraid of a flank, or if he actually just can't stand toe-to-toe with Sky. But
yeah, I mean, that's the interesting too. Shyvana has hit a little bit of a later game spike, and this is a half dragon that's relatively tanky as well. Okay, we're gonna go back to this. Maybe not against, but for mostly for regular damage. I mean, the AP, there is no magic resist at all really on this team except for in the Banshee Veil. Of course, the Twitch and the Negatron Cloak that, okay, we'll talk about it later because they just want to fight right now. There's going to be a big bubble up onto Little Bun, but they won't be able to do anything else on this. It's continued pressure. This is what King is good at exerting. Oh, we have no wave, we'll just back off. And here we go, back in again. It is a lot of damage being put out onto this inhibit. This is the time that DC has to fight. Baron buff is not available right now. They will get the kill. There's the tidal wave, going to be dodged out, and they find a fight, but they can't get any picks just yet. Nobody goes down. Baron has a minute left to spawn, and they get out scot-free.
And again, the issue with Dreamcatcher's team composition right now is they do not have a hard engage. They have to have Ryze get in close and personal to have any sort of hard CC. Obviously trying to utilize the Nami ultimate right there for a hard engage, but too little too late, and Ryze's range really isn't befitting the fact that he's facing a Twitch. Baron about to spawn in 30 seconds, and I feel like Dreamcatcher is kind of passively losing this game, just kind of watching everything happen. They are still relatively strong. Obviously, they want nearly to land those spears ahead of time, but against a Braum, against an Elise with the spider lanes, against someone as tanky as Sky Shyvana right now, not finding the damage that she really needs to. And I feel like Dreamcatchers, they just need to make plays right now.
Speaking of plays being made, Baron's about to come up in about 3 or 4 seconds, and this is being immediately motioned for by King, but the rest of Dreamcatcher is up. Oh, guys, it's a 5v5. We're going to start the Baron. Let's do it. Here we go. The dance commences. Already down to half health right now. If they want to make a play, they've got to go for the steal. JK looking for the outside. See if he can get it. He does the Sonic Wave, and he gets the steal off. Oh, my goodness. He gets out scot-free as well. And here's Sky looking for the revenge, but he's being taken low immediately. JK and Coco evaporate him, and it is a 5v4. And all of a sudden, Dreamcatcher right back into this. They land the spear. The Cullen comes out the side. Looks like they're going to lock up Little Bun. I cannot believe how amazing they pulled that one off. And there is the steal coming out of JK, biding his time until the last minute, gets a Sonic Wave in, gets the smite off, and they're scratching their heads on the side of King.
Hey guys, you know what's a good idea? Let's take this bot inhibitor so we can play the pressure dance and contest Baron with a big bot minion wave, and then let's not do that at all and allow them to steal the Baron.
You are harsh this morning.
I'm sorry, but that's literally what was happening in their comms. Nothing else could have happened right there.
I think that one hurt more than an Italy Spear. There's a big command shockwave, though, and June going to spend that Zanya's Hourglass very, very well. The teleport coming around the side. They nearly got a good angle on him, but Dreamcatcher is very revitalized by this Baron. You can see that they are completely ignoring the tower shots, just brazenly knocking down the front door.
Oh, but look at their base.
Now. Yep, their base is in a lot of trouble though. There's a winion wave.
Burning.
There's a winion wave, and this is a problem. They've already got one down. The other one could fall very shortly. They have to back away, and King is realizing this is their chance. They cannot let this back happen. They need to take a fight. They're a little low. They could get wiped, but they're going to keep on the chase. This forces them to not spend a recall, and instead they have to walk the slow way all the way back. So even with the Baron buff, this is a dangerous situation right now for Dreamcatcher. Second Nexus turret gonna fall. They are racing to try and save the Nexus, and right now this alleviates a lot of pressure for King. Wave going to evaporate, but that was a big oversight by Dreamcatcher there.
I feel like this isn't the teams playing well anymore. Like the early game was actually really controlled, really concise, really well executed by both teams, kind of in this reaction, you do this, I do this, and taking the advantage back and forth. The Baron throw was huge for King, but what Dreamcatchers just did, allowing that minion wave, like literally this is what King needed during that Baron. They should have just waited for that wave and again played the pressure game of you either save your base or you give us the free Baron. Instead, we're gonna allow the Baron steal, but you're gonna stay and be so overzealous that you're gonna lose your entire base to it, especially with a Twitch and a teleport Shyvana in the game. If King ever gets in a sticky situation, they just have to send Heartless in there, undercover agent and kill that Nexus from behind it. It would pretty much be dead before anyone was able to get to him.
I don't know. Blindness is no impairment to those fighting a smelly opponent. I think they might be able to see Twitch coming.
Well, that's also why they have that pink ward sitting out in the...
Yeah, that certainly helps too.
Well, they have to have it there every single time now because the backdoor threat from Twitch is...
it's a really, really scary situation. Now that they've lost both their Nexus towers, the Winions can knock them down so fast if left unattended. And this really opens up the door to a lot more aggression. Their inhibitor did come back up, but they've got to be extremely careful. If they lose it again, there's immense backdoor pressure that is capable on the side of King, and they want to take a fight here. They just want to burst down the front door, even with the Baron buff. They're confident to take this one. Little Bun taking a lot of damage on the outside, though. They do. There's really no way they can fight this one.
If they die here, they lose the game.
Oh my goodness. No, they actually do manage to get it off, and they want to take a fight now. They're looking really confident. A pretty big wombo combo down, and I don't know if they can really put out enough damage to do it. Sky's going to try to zone away. Pops his random ones, and oh no, there goes Dawn. JK mixing it up in the action, but he doesn't have the damage output to make it happen. This could be the end of the game if they take a good fight here. Sky is still tanking things up. They managed to melt down Italy, and here they go, diving all the way forward. They can't put any damage onto the Nexus. They realize that the inhibitor is still up, but this is a 2-for-none taken so far, and they are scrambling to defend this one. Dreamcatcher don't know if they can salvage this game. It might be all down to the next one. They do manage to take down Little Bun, but they do not save the Nexus. First game going in favor of King in a very long, drawn-out slugfest.
Again, I feel like that wasn't one team necessarily playing well. The early game, of course, was fantastically played by both teams, but it was throw after poor decision. I said it before, I'll say it again. They should not have fought, though. There was no reason for Dreamcatcher to try to defend that inhibitor. Obviously, they realized that the Shockwave had completely whiffed everything. They said, hey, that Shockwave's not down. That's a very important ult. Not respecting the fact that Heartless is a 6-item Twitch. Late game, it's a 48-minute Twitch. He's going to melt your entire team. You saw he got a hold of Nidalee and popped her in 1-2 punch. There was no reason. If they had just backed off, gave them the free inhibitor, they could have reset and waited for another engagement. Yeah, is it the position they want to be in? Of course not. They don't want to have another open inhibitor with an open Nexus there, but it's a much better alternative than just losing the game right there, which is what they effectively chose to do. So I'm really scratching my head over that.
Yeah, they really didn't play their comp extremely well towards the end of the game. I think that Baron buff gave them a lot of confidence that they just really didn't merit considering how far behind they still were. But regardless, that's the end of game number 1, so it is match point right now for Dreamcatcher. If they lose this next game, King will advance on to the next round of the Demacia Cup, and they will be out for the duration of the tournament. However, they always have a chance to bring it right on around if they manage to take another game. We'll be going to game number 3, but we will get back to you after this. So for the time being, please enjoy the, among other things, behind the scenes of this wonderful, wonderful video that Riot's made. So guys, we will be right back with you. Remember, you are watching the English coverage of the Demacia Cup brought to you by Gosu Gamers and Games in Asia. We will see you soon.
As close to the game as we can be, we're going to try to hit that. One of the